All right. So I'm recording this, but I'm just going to send this just to you, okay?
Okay.
And then that way, any question you have, it has some answers for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to get the number of standard deviations. So
Mm-hmm.
if K is the number of standard deviations, now we could get the percentage. And now we use that one formula where we say 1 minus 1 divided by 2.5 squared. And this lets us know, I had to just use my good old fashioned calculator for this because I can't quite recall that off the top of my head. So that is 0.84 or 84%. So 84% of all of the all the data values are between 20 and 30.
Okay. So you would always, when it's like this type of problem, you would always, to find the difference, you would always do the mean subtracted by the minimum value of
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, technically you can use the maximum value too. It really wouldn't matter. And then divide by the standard deviations. And that'll let you know the number of standard deviations. Because in order to do Chebyshev, you have to know how many standard deviations away is the data.
Okay.
So it's kind of this weird thing, and I'm going to go a lot more into this really starting, I think, in about 2 weeks, is we're going to be like counting. Basically, you count using standard deviations.
Mm-hmm.
So, like if I was counting this out.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, my bad. What was you about to say?
No, I'm saying if it was 0.3, you would divide by 3, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, well, let me not get into that. I get into that when I start doing standard distribution about how to use a table and when we count by standard deviations. But yeah, the key with Chebyshev, like I say, figure out how many standard deviations away is a value.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know the number of standard deviations, you can determine what percentage of the data falls like within that range.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try one of the let me go here. Let's go this way. I'll clear all that off in a second. Okay, so let's start. Let's look at this first question. So you got using Chebyshev's theorem, solve these problems with solve the problems for distributions with a mean of 80 and a standard deviation of 10. So we want to know what percentage of values will fall between 60 and 100.
Mm-hmm.
So first question, how many standard deviations away is that?
So wouldn't you do 80 minus 60 divided by 10?
Yep, start there.
Mm-hmm. That would be tripping. That would be 2.
Okay. So now that you know that it's 2 standard deviations,
Mm-hmm.
now you can get the percentage. And to get the percentage, now you're going to plug it into that formula, 1 minus 1 divided by 2 squared.
So that's 1 minus 1/4, right?
Yep.
And then that would be 3/4. So then that means 75% would fall between
60 and 100.
60 and 100.
You got it.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, when you did the ACT, was it any Chebyshev questions on there?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It was mostly, and then that's the thing with that too. It was mostly like the geometry type and like algebra 2, I'm gonna say.
Okay.
And what Miss Peterson thought, because my mom was like, "Oh my God, do you have to like relearn? Would you have to relearn that stuff?" And I didn't even think about it. What Miss Peterson thought was like, for you, it's probably trying to mostly retain all that information. Because I took that, like most people probably would have took that last year, but I took algebra 2 my freshman year and
Right.
geometry and algebra 1 in 8th grade. So she was like, that's 3 years of stuff that you gotta like
Kind of re-bring
yeah,
to the front.
recall.
Yeah,
So she was like, that's probably what's gonna be your biggest
I
con
agree.
instead of yeah.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Okay. All right, but it sounds like at least for these, you get the gist. You want to determine the number of standard deviations,
Mm-hmm.
and after you determine the number of standard deviations, that's when that formula comes into play. So we could say, oh, okay, 80% or 84% or whatever the percentage is. Okay.
Okay.
So what about all right. What about question 3?
Ooh.
A little different.
All right, we'll give it a shot. So let's say this many hours of fitting. All right. So wouldn't you just find the range? So wasn't that the one where you basically
Let me go back.
you
88.89%. Oops, I just went right
that's
past it.
that's 3 standard deviations.
That's 3 standard deviations. So you're going to look for, now this one they're looking for the range. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to add 3 standard deviations, which is 3296 minutes. So you want
Mm-hmm.
to add 96 minutes to get the maximum value, and you want to subtract 96 minutes to get the minimum value.
Mm-hmm. So you would do 96 minus 32, which would be
Well, be careful. Here's like a little trick for this. I forgot about this. I might have mentioned this to the class. They give you hours, 3 hours, so you want to turn that into minutes.
okay. So 3 hours. That's 180 minutes, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So
So
basically, your mean is 180 minutes.
okay. So then that's what you would add and subtract 96 to. Okay. So 180 minus 96. So the minimum would be 84, right?
Yep. You got
Okay.
it.
And then the maximum would be 276.
You
Right?
got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we still have to do something else?
That was it.
Oh, that's it? Okay. I
You
was
you
like,
got
wait.
you got the range. The question is find the range, and you told me the minimum, you told me the maximum. That's the range.
Okay. I was like, wait, do we have to do something else?
Nope,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay. I think that's much better. I think I was thinking like it was some big thing that it wasn't. So
The,
yeah,
yeah,
that.
the name is intimidating
Mhm.
because all of a sudden it's like you had. Now I'm like, all right, now we're gonna do Chebyshev, and I'll be honest, that's kind of one thing with stats. Eventually, I'm gonna start throwing some terms out there. I'll be like, what? Binomial distributions and Poisson theorem and Chebyshev, and then you're gonna be like, that's it. Oh,
Right, like that was it.
yeah. So it's it's kind of hard for me because normally I used to like to not introduce the names of things
Hmm.
until people understood it. Then I give them some crazy name for it. But
That's what I was doing this whole time.
yeah, because I really prefer people to know that because if you think it's tough at the beginning, it kind of puts a wall up with people. So I try to make things as accessible as possible.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we do with Chebyshev. It's just to determine or estimate, this is the least or the minimum percentage of people or data that's going to be blank standard deviations from the mean.
Okay. This was very helpful. Thank you.
Yep. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to like in Google Classroom with this assignment, I'm just gonna put a link with this YouTube.
Okay.
I'm just gonna give it to you. I'm not gonna release it to nobody else. So
Mm-hmm.
if you share it, I don't care. But I'm not gonna share it with anybody else.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. And you have a good one. If you need anything, you holler at me. All right.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Peace.
Bye.